Hello everybody and welcome to this video. It's another in the Student Exemplar series. This student wants to remain anonymous, but because their work is featured in this video, they have won my guide to GCSE English Language and GCSE English Literature. You can do the same. If you've completed a piece of work which has received a high mark, email it to me, info@mrbruff.com, and if it's featured in a video, then you will get my ebooks for free. So the question was about parental relationships in Follower and One Other Poem, and let's get right into it. Follower and Eden Rock both present ideas about familial relationships from the perspective of the child. Both speakers undeniably admire their parents. In Follower, the speaker's father is an expert farmer who works with a horseplough, and the child longs to follow in his footsteps. This admiration is shown through the minor sentence, an expert, which creates a sense of finality. The full stop suggests there's no questioning the father's skill, hence there's no questioning why the child looks up to his father. The poet's use of extended metaphor enhances the ideas that the father is everything to his child. The father is not only described as the ship itself, full sails strung, but also the captain of the ship, which portrays the father as extremely skilled in his craft. It creates the sense that the father is the child's entire world. He is the one who leads the metaphorical ship of life, setting the pathway for his child, guiding and mentoring him along the way, which shows the relationship to be one of love and support. So as an opening paragraph, this is interesting because up until sort of here, I thought this was going to be an overly long introduction, but actually it gets straight into the analysis, looking at the sentence types, in other words, structure, and the extended metaphor throughout the piece, a language point. I think it would have been useful for the student to have just a one-line introduction which explains the line of argument. The highest marks in the literature and in all sections of the literature exam are given for a conceptualized response, which is really where you have an idea or a theory that you then explain throughout your answer. So it could be they're both about familial relationships, but one is positive and one is negative, or something like that. Just a theory, an idea that you're going to explore, but really nice analysis anyway. Eden Rock presents a memory of the speaker's parents, which is depicted in a positive way through the use of natural vocabulary such as stone, grass, and straw. This reflects the sense that the child sees their relationship as being natural and pure, as if it was meant to be. This clean, unspoilt setting is exemplified when the speaker claims the mother's hair takes on the light. Light has connotations of heaven, reflecting the way the child sees his parents as angelic and saint-like, showing a strong admiration for them. Additionally, the title of the poem itself undoubtedly references the Bible, in particular the Garden of Eden, from which mankind was essentially created, and this could be seen as a reflection of the speaker's gratitude for the parents. They are what gave him life, and so they are responsible for the seemingly perfect childhood he remembers. This reference to heaven could alternatively be linked to the fact that Causley's father died when he was 7, so the poem could be seen to be commenting on the afterlife. Now, I like this paragraph, and like the previous paragraph, what it does very well is it takes numerous examples of evidence from the poem and explains the same point with them. I talk a lot in this Student Exemplar series about how what I don't like is when students have lots of different ideas in one paragraph. But there's a difference here, and the difference is that the ideas or the references and points made in the paragraph all back up the same point that was explained in the topic sentence. So we've got some beautiful analysis in that paragraph of language analysis, and now we're moving on to structure. Both poems have an ordered, regular structure of 4-line stanzas, which reflects in both cases the constant, steady relationship between the parents and child. In Follower, this consistent structure could also be seen as a literal representation of the father's physical work as he ploughs through the fields in neat rows. It has been suggested that Heaney's poetry could be seen as a metaphor for the art of poetry writing itself. Here, the act of ploughing could be symbolic of putting pen to paper, therefore enabling us to interpolate the presence of 2 extra relationships within Follower. The father's manual labour, which ran in the family that Heaney himself grew up in, shows a love and appreciation for the natural world, in turn suggesting that the familial relationship is pure and organic. The connection to the poem being an appraisal of poetry itself reflects a potentially more challenging aspect of the parent-child relationship. as Heaney grew up expected to work on a farm, but instead ended up writing poetry. So we can infer that the relationship described in the poem could mirror the not-so-perfect relationship that Heaney had with his parents, due to the incongruity between expectations and reality. This is a great paragraph. It felt to me like it was drifting off topic, like it was becoming just drifting off the familial relationships element of the question with this first few lines. But again, the student brought it back and said, okay, if it is all about a metaphor for the act of ploughing itself, here's what that tells us about the familial relationships. This is a fantastic piece of work. The challenges in the relationship presented in Follower are reflected in the continual use of half-rhyme, sock and pluck, wake and back. This could reflect the speaker's inability to keep up with his father. The way the child was always stumbling and tripping is shown in the way the poem falls short of full rhyme, and this conveys the speaker's desperation and frustration which surrounded the desire to be like his father, showing the ups and downs he faced growing up. Now, there's nothing wrong with this paragraph. It's a bit shorter than the others, and I think there would be an opportunity to explore the idea further, because if you know the poem, there is a sense that it is the bit where it says, you know, and now it's my father who follows me around. And there is a sense, I think, that there was a growing distance between the father and the son. And it's not just about the child Heaney not being able to keep up with his father, but perhaps the growing problems in the relationship. Interestingly, in my video analysis of Follower, and I really recommend you check out my playlists for the love and relationships poems, I've explored every single poem, but I read a Heaney book where he talked about this poem and how his dad never really spoke to him about it. They never addressed what it was about. But his dad did go to his poetry readings and all of that kind of thing. So this idea of, you know, it's my father who now follows me was really quite true. Both poems end with a distinct ambiguity. In Eden Rock, the speaker states, "I had not thought it would be like this," which leads the reader to question the deeper meaning of the poem, which could be seen as a comment on growing older or even death itself. The poet's use of this monosyllabic phrase creates a childlike tone, suggesting the speaker's desire to relive his seemingly pure and honourable childhood, showing a profound appreciation for the parent-child relationship early on in life. The final line is separated from the last stanza of the poem, which could be interpreted as a reflection of the speaker's growing feelings of isolation that has accompanied adult life, maybe as a result of his parents no longer being alive. On the other hand, in Follower, the ambiguity comes at the end when the speaker says it is his father who will not go away, and this lowers the mood of the poem right at then, which could reflect the deterioration of the parent-child relationship over time. However, this ambiguity remains part of the final stanza, so it could be said that despite the present difficulties within the relationship, there is still a strong bond between the two of them that will remain unbroken, whatever. So some really nice analysis here. I think what this answer does very, very well is it addresses the question, and it really does pick out the similarities between the two poems. You know, the only thing it would have benefited from would just have been a couple of lines which really explained what the line of argument, the sort of conceptualized response would have been. But this is a fantastic answer. If you want more of these videos, please do subscribe to the channel.